I am Khulumanzolwane insizwa kaNdlovu. Ngithwaswe nguyisonga indaba insizwa kaGwala nomphathi imali insizwa kaMsana. Siphuma kuyimpande kaGazini imithetho kaNyambuza. What I'm looking at out there eyenzeka ngobungoma, it hurts me. I am a Gobela myself. I have initiated a lot of people, and most of them are no longer even maybe Zangoma today. Some are no longer even maybe associated with this God, for whatever the reason. And when I look at these things, after the years of practicing Ubungoma, the question is Ubungoma going the right direction? Are we winning the battle of gaining more people to be proud of who they are? And I am ashamed to say we are losing. I am ashamed to say we created chaos. I am ashamed to say we brought our personalities into Ubungoma, and we forgot that this was the calling of our forefathers, not our decision. I'm afraid to say we shredded Ubungoma and we threw it to the dogs. We continue to do that as Abangoma every day. Our personalities are in the forefront and the spirit is taking the back seat. It is not good. Hence, then, part of the things that I'm worried about, it is to answer the question of what is killing Ubungoma. I am going to start today by looking at one thing I believe that it is playing a big role in killing Ubungoma. The awakening, meaning the becoming aware, people waking up to understand who they are, that they are called. And then they have to embark in a journey of becoming a Zangoma. This awakening is killing Ubungoma. What do I mean? Let's be honest. Not everyone who've gone through a training of becoming a Sangoma actually did it because they understood what they were doing. Most of them did it because the circumstances in their lives forced them to actually answer the calling of their forefathers. Not because they understood it, not that because they really wanted to do it, but because they had no choice. They were dragged into it by their own ancestors. So we are now talking about an awakening that is happening at a very rapid level. The pace is very high. And we are missing key components as we are going through this awakening. And now, later, all of these developments and this missing information and this distortion of information caught up with us as Abangoma and Ubungoma, the fraternity itself. The society as Zangoma is one that is not united, one that is full of jealousy, one that is even practicing evil, one that don't celebrate each other. Can you see what this awakening have done? By awakening, I am talking about in terms of the wave, the numbers, the type of people that we saw now coming into Ubungoma. Allow me to go back to one thing. At the time, colonizers were suppressing us as Africans. Less and less people embraced Ubungoma. Less and less people allowed awakening to happen. Because the laws, we can go through everything. When apartheid came in the 40s, it took it a step higher than just colonization. It was a system that was now cleverly applied to suppress and dehumanize and make sure that we look at each other as being evil when we are practicing cultural and Ubungo practices. So it means then the people that became Zangoma back in those days were less, very few. And when they were taking up their calling, they understood the importance of this being sacred, number one. They understood the importance of making sure that they take up lo msebenzi and become ambassadors of their ancestors. We see that kunenyanga ezinkulu iZanusi nana, all of those people that were there in the past that did a great work. We came because apartheid came to an end. Now it was free for all. Everyone could be themselves and everything was allowed. We did not take stock of what was going to be important as we move forward in spirituality. We did not take stock of what is sacred and must be protected with our lives. The secrets of the practice. We didn't. I want to be honest with you. Because everyone now in numbers were becoming Zangoma. In a block, you'll find 10 or even 5 people now willing to go through Ipel. People complained. They said everyone is becoming a Sangoma. We defended it because it's an awakening. We defended it because we knew that it was time and Amadlozi were doing all possible to push us to embrace who we are as Abangoma. We defended the awakening as Ogobela and as Zangoma. Maybe what we should have done, we should have listened to the complaints that were out there about the numbers of Zangoma that are being found in the streets today. Maybe we should have analyzed every complaint and see if there's any elements that were actually truthful. Maybe we should have organized as a Bangoma and made sure that we talk to the issues that are raised by those that were blaming and complaining and tarnishing us. Not just be defensive. Because all we see today in this awakening process, Abangoma just becoming defensive. They're no longer checking whatever is being said is truthful or not. We just say, you are not going to tell us you are a Christian. You are not going to tell us you don't even know anything about UBUNGOMA. You're not going to tell us because you are a self-initiate. You know, we have so many reasons and defense lines that we are using immediately as soon as we feel that we are being questioned or we are being attacked. Why do I believe that this awakening is killing UBUNGOMA? Let me qualify the statement of the awakening is killing UBUNGOMA. The awakening that it is without protocols, observing of umthetho weshoba. The awakening that is happening and nothing else is done in terms of vetting these people. That is what is killing UBUNGOMA. Today you find so many people teaching on social media. Now recently there's been a cry to say, do you even know who is talking and who's teaching you all of these things? Bathwase kuphi? Ubugobela wakhe. Bazintoni ngobunyanga? Baphuma kumakhaya njani? Bayas understand na isintu nobunyanga, the sacredness. Why are they doing these things? That cry is still out there. It's saying now, let's double check who's talking. And I say that is the right way to go. Because this awakening has been a free-for-all and without limits, and this has created problems ebunyangeni. It is time then to say, izangoma, abangoma that believe ukuthi ubungoma must be protected with everything, we now need to start calling out things, podcasts, TV shows, and everything that is portraying ubungoma wrong. Showing things, even if, let's say, for example, it is a practice that is there, but we understand that that practice is sacred. We must protect it. The language of Abangoma is known by everyone, nonga twasanga, palace. And when you hear people say this, you'll be shocked that they actually know what they're talking about. They did not go through it. But because in social media, they were teachers or people that were prepared to share this knowledge with just everyone. And today we've got people claiming ubungoma processes and they're using it as theirs, claiming our terminologies and they're using it as theirs. We have embarrassing practices that are being now attached to Ubungoma and yes, Bobuthakathi. This is why I'm saying the awakening Bogogo Nomkhulu is killing Ubungoma, because it is not checked. We are not verifying information. We are not vetting the people that are talking. We are just consuming and consuming and consuming as society. And now others are even scared to actually answer their call. Their calling is calling. Their lives are going south, and they are scared because they have been watching videos that are telling them things that scares them. Some even die. Some are in psychiatric hospitals. Some are living a life that is actually under medication on a daily basis, only because Ubungoma is knocking on their doors. Their ancestors are calling them, but it is misdiagnosed and misunderstood. This awakening, the information influx, created problem because now there's a huge segment of people that are against Ubungoma because of the information that is out there. Having said that, Bogogo Nomkhulu, I'm not saying this awakening is wrong. Like I said before, we must protect it. It must continue. People must still wake up and understand who they are, with spirituality, and be proud of that. However, we need to do better. Do you think maybe a government is letting us be because it's by chance? No. This is by design, that our government is not paying attention to whatever is happening, and yet this is part of Isintu Nobuntu Betu. Because no one wants to see Ubungoma flourishing. Do you think it's by design, is by chance that the TV shows that we're watching are actually painting us wrong? They are creating controversy, they are showing negative things, and they are making mockery of Ubungoma? No, it's not by chance. It is part of this awakening I'm talking about that is not controlled. Look at now, we had the Traditional Health Council issue. You look at the Act of 2007 and you read that Act properly, you will realize all is actually trying to attend to or address. It is about how do we register Izango? How do we register and get someone to be qualified as a Sango? Shouldn't that act even go further and give certain guidelines in terms of how then these Sangomas are supposed to make sure that they are within the parameters of the law? They are doing this. And when I'm talking about the law, I'm talking about Umthetho Weshoba. It's silent. If anyone wants to prove me wrong, please present that portion that actually talks to that. Because even with the new council that was an interim, it also just gave a broad guideline in terms of how to register. And there was nowhere where we're seeing that, okay, from when this is done, we're going to move to this step and that step. This awakening is happening too fast. This awakening is ignored by government. There's no political will. And that's why we have so many comments and manipulators that are masquerading as Izangoma. We've got Abathakathi who are masquerading as Abangoma. The prominence of Uktwala and is now being integrated into Ubungoma, and now Izangoma being told Abatwele. Are our ancestors proud of what we are doing? No. They are not happy with the way things are going. Hence then the clarion call that says, Buyambo, we need to go back to the roots. We need to go back to esikweni lethu, esintwini sethu, ebungomeni in its authentic form. But we are not going to be able to do that, Bogogo Nomkhulu, because in this awakening, it's every Sangoma for themselves, it's every Skodlo for themselves, it's every Mpande for themselves. Even the organizations that are meant to actually assist in collecting and managing Abangoma, I personally believe that they are not doing the best work yet. If they are doing it only for their members. Yet unfortunately, this thing UBUNGOMA does not only affect the members, it affects all of us, the society. The things that are being done under the name, under the banner UBUNGOMA are out there on TV and are everywhere else, and these organizations need to do more and better. Hence I'm saying this awakening is creating a problem because it is not governed and it is not controlled and it's without limits. We are seeing abantu who run away from becoming abangoma, becoming abaprofit. It's part of this awakening. Yet lo muntu ubizwa imimoya yokwelapha ngokwendabuko, which is ubungoma. And they are comfortable on assigning themselves to Christianity or ngokwesithunywa on the basis that they understand that if they are seen as Sangoma, they are going to be labeled. Some people even say, I'm a self-initiate, I don't have to twasa, my ancestors bangifake manzini, bangithwasisa ngokwabo. All of these claims, I'm not saying they're incorrect. But I'm saying if we were to take case by case, you will realize that more than 50% of these people are actually people who have seen negative information about UBUNGOMA and who had some negative information or experienced negative practice themselves. Hence, then they are not happy or even comfortable assigning themselves or associating themselves with UBUNGOMA or Imbande or Isgodlo. There's another grouping of people, those that have actually gone through the process of Twasa. Meaning this is actually a qualified Sangoma. Umngoma luphelele. Konke kwenziwe, wabekwe emabaleni, kwenza. The next thing uthatha yonke imvunulo, uthatha yonke into imigaxo yakhe, uhambe uyoyilahlela emfuleni. Because they feel ukuthi is no longer working for them. The question is, why did you answer your call? This calling, when it called, why did you answer? It means then you lacked the principal understanding of what you were doing. I cannot buy the story that because I was done wrong by Ukobela or this was done wrong to me or this my family against that. Because if you actually went through the process, you understood what you were getting yourself into. Why are you adding to the confusion and the chaos? Why didn't you just rather from the beginning and say, I'm not going through this thing? Then it would have been safer. Hence, I'm saying this awakening is a problem because amadlozi now are just awakening everyone without even themselves vetting these people. There are people who actually betray their own calling. As of Gobela, there are people that we initiated and we saw so much potential in them. And from nowhere, without anyone doing anything wrong to them, they just went lost. Unfortunately, as a Gobela, my job is not to come after anyone. It is to guide those that need my guidance. It's to assist those that are seeing their awakening within themselves and they seek guidance. And then I put them through that and support them even post into us. So by being here, they know where to find me. I don't have to come after everyone and be following up on anyone. It is not our job. However, it is actually killing UBUNGOMA or into yokuthi people accept the awakening within themselves, go through the process, and then decide, fuck, I'm not doing this anymore. It is wrong. There are those also abangabangoma about decide they're going to go to social media and they're going to be doing a lot of negative talk. A lot of feuds with abanye abangoma in social media platform or in public platforms generally. They are missing the point that when they are fighting amongst each other abangoma, it is UBUNGOMA that suffers the most. It's not these individuals and their images. When I'm going to sit here and say Mkulo Gogo Banbani urongo kanje or wenza lono, I am not only attacking that person, I am actually also adding in the negative imaging of UBUNGOMA. I'm not saying people must protect what is wrong. That's not what I'm promoting. But I'm saying there's ways to handle things in order to make sure that we protect the sacredness and the image of UBUNGOMA. Because at the end of the day, it is not about me. It is bigger than that. We are representing our ancestors. We are representing African ways. Why are we the ones who are stealing the building blocks that are meant to build this empire that is Ubungo? There are those that are going to go to social media and they are going to say, take lo muthi, nalo muthi, nalo muthi, nalo muthi, ugume for 3 days, You know, I am always worried when Ungoma or a spiritual healer does that without giving the background information to say, number one, le mithi that I'm talking about, inendlela yakhona yokuphakanyiselwa amandla ayo. Inendlela yakhona yokwazi ukuthi isuse imimoya, because most of us, we don't go and dig le mithi siyithenga somewhere koma muthi shops. We go to Faraday, we go everywhere else. Kunendlela, you need to cleanse le mithi of imimoya. These people don't tell abantu lonto leyo. They just put it out there. This is actually information that should have been guarded. Have you ever seen KFC publicizing their recipe on how they make their chicken? You won't. Can you ever see any company are publicizing their marketing strategy? They won't. Why are we doing it, Ebungomeni? Are we not understanding that we're in the process of awakening? People are becoming aware of who we are and everything else, yet we are feeding too much information, even that is not supposed to be shared publicly. And we're saying we're sharing information, we don't want. There are settings and places where the sharing of information about Ubungoma is supposed to be done, where you know that the people in the room, you can vouch for them being Abangoma themselves. This awakening is bringing teachers that are very careless with information. We are seeing so much negative being done by Abangoma and in the name of Ubungoma. And society takes that and attach it to our Ubungoma. I am saying, Bogogo Nomkhulu, the time has come that we start checking these things thoroughly. The time has come that we start paying attention to what is it that we are saying and what is it that we are doing, and ask ourselves, are we adding value to Ubungoma or not? This awakening made Izigodlo to grow. We process about 10 to 15 people at a go, some people even more. Are we also now learning from those mistakes and saying, actually, I should not be taking these high numbers so that I'm able to concentrate my teachings, my checks and everything else to a few, and make sure that I produce Abangoma that are not going to betray their calling tomorrow. Abangoma that are not going to betray the cause and the mandate of our ancestors. Maybe now the time has come that we start pushing for quality more than just quantity. There's nothing wrong. You can have 100 Yamatwasa in one go. I've got nothing against that. But I'm saying, can we now improve how we are making sure that these people are actually coming out and doing best? If you look at the educational system, the private one, you will notice one thing is common. The ratio of a teacher to students, you'll always get one teacher to 15 students. Meaning this teacher is able to zoom in into details on each student's needs. But the minute you go to public, you find 30, 50 kids in one class. How is that poor teacher going to pay attention to everyone? I'm just making an example. That quality of what we are producing must now improve. It is time now, Bogogo Nomkhulu, that we start being careful as Ogobela of what we are taking in and what we are producing out there. As a Zangoma of what we are doing and what we are saying under the banner of Ubungoma. And as a general public, to stop consuming everything, and it's because someone has it here and have a string of beads, you assume that Bangabangoma. When they go to these churches and they say, I was a Sangoma, I'm leaving everything behind. Question is, ipi mikato yake? Ipi mitundu yake? Why we are only always seeing just some bottles of imiti and amahia and some bead strings? We need to just check information that is out there, because it is clear that there is a deliberate thing that is being done that is to tarnish ubungoma, and abangoma are being used to be part of that, and society is just buying into it, and those that have the awakening and those that have the calling are now scared to become abangoma on the basis of what they've seen and heard. It is time for all Sangomas, all Kabangoma, ababelivayo ukuthi the time is now to fight for ubungoma that is pure, ubungoma that is focused on what we are doing, abangoma that are not betraying their calling, abangoma that are allowing the spirit to move forward and let our personalities be at the back, to be coming to the forefront and to be part of this movement, Buyambo. I am inviting abangoma that are actually saying time has come for us to say enough is enough. Let's now restore the dignity of ubungoma. Thokozani bogogo nomkhulu, and it is Buyambo. We will see you again in the next episode when we are unpacking other teachings. Thokozani.